Hi, welcome to Authors, Artists, and Entrepreneurs. I'm Signe Miranda from the Creative Leaders, and today I'm interviewing Mike Kirby, who's the head of the Village Theatre in Belleville, Ontario. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Signe. Nice to be here.
It's great to have you on the show. I guess it is a show. Well, it's online, and so I'm really excited to have you here because you've really inspired my creativity. And we met when I was in high school. You were my English teacher, and when I took your class, I was really inspired to start writing poetry and lyrics, and I started writing a novel. And I really appreciate that you had that influence on my creativity. So when I heard that you started a theater, the Village Theater, I was really interested to hear what that's all about. So I'm going to ask you questions about that and where your creativity started in your life and things that you've learned from that. So
Okay, sounds good.
awesome. So I'd like to start with, how did you get into creative writing? Do you have a memory from your early childhood when you first wrote a story or something like that?
The, I actually remember a poem, Signe, that I wrote in grade six. We had to write a poem for Remembrance Day, and mine was so amazing apparently that it got put up on display for when the parents came. I actually still remember a little bit of it, and it's pretty bad, I got to tell you. But at the time, it rhymed well, so I'm sure that impressed the teachers. All I had to do is rhyme, but so I always had kind of a love for writing, and as I got into high school, my English classes were my favorite. Just seemed to have sort of a natural ability to write, and I enjoyed reading novels and poetry, and so it sort of seemed natural that I would become an English teacher, partly because I couldn't figure out anything else I could do in this world. So anyway, it was very exciting, and it's always so gratifying to hear from people like you that that took something from it. I'm sure a lot of the students just thought like, oh, how do I get through this next 70 minutes? But it's nice to know that some people took something from high school English. So I appreciate you saying that. It means a lot.
Thanks. And what inspired you to transition from teaching into starting your own theater company?
You know, I think a lot of us I think you and I are a lot of, like we've talked before. We're sort of kind of shy people. We're not really comfortable. Although I know we're both working on it. But I think I always had sort of an inner, I don't know, desire to be involved in theater. I don't know, it's sort of a performer. Some people are just do it. They have no problems. And for some of us, though, it takes a while. And I actually met my wife Sarah through theater. I was just a stage hand. I was opening and closing the curtain, and so we met there. And I really enjoyed being involved in theater. Just that there seemed to be such a with coaching basketball, there's always every game there's a winner and a loser, right? And in theater, it wasn't that way. Everybody was a winner. At the end, everybody felt good. There was no reason to be upset because you lost something. So I found that really interesting and enjoyable, and made me want to get involved more.
Awesome. So you and Sarah work on the theater together?
Yes, we started it together. There's a theater here in Belleville that's been around for over 60 years, Belleville Theater Guild, and they do a great job and have been doing it for a long time. But we just felt that maybe there was room for another one. There were enough people that wanted to get involved in acting and directing and things, so we decided that we would see if there was a room for one more. And so far, it's been a great success, and we're really happy with the way things are going. And so yes, with lots of Sarah and I, with lots of help from experts in lighting and acting and set design, things like that, we've certainly could not have done it by ourselves.
So it's a whole team effort, and it kind of relates to sports in that way. You're working together to fulfill this vision.
Yeah, exactly, Signa. That's I think I drive the people crazy with with my constant references to basketball. It is very much like a team. People have different roles. Some in basketball, some people are scorers, some people are rebounders. Some people are known for their defense. Same thing in theater. Everybody's got a role to play, and if it's there's no such thing as a small role, right? It's everybody's got something to play, and it's crucial for success.
Awesome. And what is the vision that you're working towards? What is the vision you've created for this theater?
Well, I'm kind of glad but kind of sad that you asked that question because, to be quite honest, we're still sort of searching for what we want to be. Um, we started out as we're doing dinner theater, and they're nice. They're really, I think, great shows that we've done, lighthearted comedies. But I think eventually I'd like to get into something a bit more. Maybe something a little edgier into some dramas or things like that. We're actually going up to the Toronto Fringe Festival um, in the next couple of weeks, and I'm hoping to get some ideas from there about what we might become. Because we're really still in search of what we want to be, to be honest.
Great. And it's an ever changing path when you have a vision because you get exposed to new things and that changes the vision sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I've had people ask questions like you did, and it's in some ways I'd like to be able to say this is exactly what I want to do. This is my plan. We're going to have this done in 5 years or something, but it just isn't. It's going to sort of develop on its own, and maybe there's something I absolutely fall in love with that say this is the way we've got to do things. But right now it's open, and we just want to really give a place for people to get involved. People who want to be, whether it's in directing or lighting or performing. We just want to give them a place to be able to do it. Belleville and surrounding area is a big place, so there should be lots of room for anybody who wants to get involved in those things. So we're just trying to provide another outlet for that.
Yeah, and it's great to see the art scene starting to develop a little bit more in Belleville. There wasn't as much
Yeah,
going on when I grew up there.
is that right? Yeah, that's. I feel like there's a lot going on. I say that to people, and they kind of look at me funny. But boy, if you look through an arts program or a calendar, there's almost always something, whether it's visual art or performing arts or choir, music, all kinds of stuff. There's lots around for people to do if they want to look a little bit. So it is exciting to see, and of course we're close to the Prince Edward County where there's a lot of that as well.
Yeah, and it's a great area to be in. And I wanted to change directions a bit, and you mentioned about coaching basketball, and you also played varsity basketball in university. And I'm just wondering, as a high level athlete, what is it that you took from that experience, from the discipline, and from other things that you learned from working as a team that you apply into running a business and having a theater production company?
Well, I guess maybe what the word you use, teamwork. It's you just can't. No matter how good somebody is, they can't do it on their own, right? You have to work as a team to accomplish anything. I know that's sort of a cliche, but it really is true. You can't you can't do things on your own. The other thing I think is that there's going to be successes and failures, and coaches always say you learn more from your losses than your wins, and I think that's true. And so you're going to fail sometimes, but you can't let it get you down. You got to try and keep on going, and just improve the next time. That's all we can ask, really.
Yeah. And in basketball, you have coaches, and did you find that you started looking for mentors and people to help you know how to put a theater company together when you decided that's what you wanted to do?
Definitely, yeah. We the summer that we came back, and we had just came back. We were overseas for a couple of years, and we decided that we wanted to do this. And the first thing I did was talk to about 6 or 7 different people that know way more about it than I do, and just to gauge their reaction to see if they would say, "Yeah, go for it," or just, "I think you're getting in over your head," or whatever. But they were all very supportive and willing to lend a hand. That's one nice thing about the arts community. People are generally very supportive of each other. I say generally, not everyone is supportive, but most people are willing to jump in and help and because everyone's needed help at one time themselves, and so when you get some expertise, and people are usually willing to share it. So we were very fortunate that way.
Fantastic. And you mentioned a little bit about being overseas. You were teaching overseas. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what the experience was like and what you learned from it?
Well, I took a job in Egypt teaching at an international school for a year, and of course, when I say Egypt to people, they look at me like I'm crazy, like how are you not shot or blown up? But it's of course most people get their impressions of Egypt and a lot of countries from the news, and you never hear anything good. But it was very normal in quite a lot of ways, and we had a great experience. Uh, um, in Egypt, and then we went on to Thailand, and we ended up in Ecuador for a few months. But I think that you and I talked when you were in Belleville a couple of weeks or last week, and we talked about sort of the idea of taking a risk. And I know that was something that you had to do was you had to overcome a lot of, I think, shyness and that sort of thing to be able to perform in front of people. You probably I know that took a lot on your part, and it was the same thing with me. I was kind of a homebody and not a big risk taker. I stayed with what I was comfortable with, and so it was a bit out of character for me to go to Egypt, and of course, if I hadn't had the support of Sarah, I probably wouldn't have done it. But so it just taught me a lot about taking risks and calculated risks, not like jumping off tall buildings and hoping you can fly, that sort of thing. But some calculated risks, and again, if the worst thing is that you fail a little bit, or you don't enjoy it, or doesn't work out, that's not the end of the world. You take a different path and try something new.
Yeah, I always feel like if you have a vision and a path and you take that leap and it's something that you're really passionate about, then if things don't work out, it's always worth it because, as you were saying, you learn more from your losses than you do from your wins, just like with basketball. Um,
Yeah, well, I agree. I just think that people get too comfortable. And this isn't supposed to be a lecture, but I think because I was part of it for a long time, but people just get very comfortable in what they know, and they don't want to step outside of whether it's their job or their city, and it can be scary, but I think it's a good kind of fear.
yeah, and then once you get used to the new things that you're doing, then that becomes part of the comfort zone, and it's a continual growth from doing things that you're not used to doing.
Yeah, for sure. When we were in Egypt and Thailand, it just we became, after a while, we just felt like we were part of the community, although the very white part of the community. But it just felt it felt very normal, and we got to know people, and unfortunately we didn't speak the language, only a few words here and there, but so weren't really a part of it as much as we would like to, but still it was something we got used to, and it didn't feel like a risk anymore.
Yeah, and so you have a new production coming up at the end of July, the Here on the Flight Path. Can you tell us a little bit about that? When are the dates for the dinner theater, and what can people expect at the show?
Okay. Yeah, here on the Flight Path, it's a play by Norm Foster, who's a Canadian. He writes comedy. He's a very very clever writer. He's got a lot of great shows. Definitely one of Canada's best known playwrights. Here on the Flight Path it plays from July 27th to 30th at Capers in downtown Belleville, and there's a night that's show only. That's $15. That's the Wednesday night, 27th. The other nights are all dinner theaters, so you get a three-course meal plus the show. So The play itself is about a man who his relationship with three different women who live next door to him. So the play is actually set on adjoining balconies at an apartment building. So it's very interesting. There's really not a lot of not a lot of plot. It's really just about the dialogue between the characters. It's very funny, and I think people would really enjoy it.
Awesome. And they can find out more about that at thevillagetheater.org.
That's right. That's right. So all kinds of information on there. You can there's phone numbers and emails. So if anyone is going to be around and in Belleville that weekend, we'd love to see you out, and I can guarantee you'll have a great time.
Great. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview, and yeah, I really appreciate this.
Well, thank you, Signe. I appreciate it too, and like I said, it's been really nice to catch up with you, and I hope everything's going well with you. I think it is. You look like a very happy young lady, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thanks. Have a great day.